All right. So, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, May 23rd, and I'm super excited. I cannot believe I talked Tara into doing this for us. So, you guys are in for a really good treat. I got to meet Tara a while back, and I know the one session I had with her literally changed my whole idea of everything. And so, it's one of those things that when I'm working with women, one of the things I hear is I don't have time or I can't get it all done or whatever. So, I love this perfect week planner that she has, because it really helps you get realistic about what's going on in your timeline, where you're at, where your time's going, and it helps you really prioritize. So it's a great thing. I'm super excited. I'm just going to turn it over to Tara and let her talk. I will have a recording of this so you guys can catch it again. I will have all of her information, and we will get everything to you again as a replay. So with that being said, thank you, Tara, so much for coming today. And I'm super excited to be able to have you do this webinar. For a couple of you that are just now coming in, we're going ahead to get started. I have everybody on mute right now, but you can unmute yourself or you can type in the chat bar. So just know that we are getting started, and the replay will also be available. If you have questions, if you haven't used Zoom before, I'm sorry, we already went over that. There is a chat bar, and you can unmute yourself to talk if you're on the computer. It's on the left-hand corner. All right, Tara, thank you so much.
Hi, guys. So I don't really do this in public, ish very often. But I did it with Jennifer, and it was so funny because hers was the absolute worst ever. Like, I've done this with a whole bunch of people.
Thanks a lot, Tara.
You really were. You were like, so let's start with what we're going to be doing today. So this is planning your perfect week. And for me, it was the perfect time to have this because my children are coming home. Okay. And I'm just going to, I hate when you go on a webinar and like the person spends the first 15 minutes talking about themselves, but I am going to tell you why I got interested in this in the first place. About 4 years ago, my husband and I decided to adopt 3 children, and I really thought my life was going to be the same. So at the time I had a 15-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-year-old. And I thought, oh, I'll just squeeze them in. Like, it's not, how different could it be? It's 3 kids, you know? I have dogs. It's the same. It's not the same, not even close to the same. So after the first couple of years, I really was losing my mind. And I was like, I have to get a grip on this. And then I have a really good bestie, and she and I have done what's called, this is functionally a little bit like Planner Manners. It's this Planner Manner course. And what you do is you use colors to do your calendar. And so I use different colors for different items. So the very first item that I ever use is personal, right? As you go through and do your week, you want to know what your personal things are. So the first thing you need to know about this sheet is if you're a morning bird, you can just use the morning one, right? If you're just the night owl, you can just use the night one, but I have to stick 2 of them together with a piece of tape, right? Because my days extend down into the evening sometimes. So you may have to do that for your days. So does everybody understand that?
So does everybody have the 2 PDFs? I don't know how to, can you guys see me? Because I think I switched it.
I can see you.
You can? Okay. So there's these pages right here that I emailed out. If you don't have those, check your email real quick and get them out. The one thing that I do want to add to that is when you're looking at your personal, and I'm sure Tara is going to be over this, but the reason we do personal is because sometimes there's things hidden that are hiding and taking up our time that we don't even realize until we actually put them on paper.
Well, so that's what this is where Jennifer was hysterical. So when she came to me, she really was that gal. And she was like, I have no time. I can't get everything done. I hate my life. I never get to do anything I want to do. And so like I stopped what we were doing that day, and I'm like, dude, we have to sit down and look at your time. And functionally what you do with these sheets is you go through, and we're going to talk about each kind of time and how you have to prioritize it. So one of the things that I remember so vividly from Jennifer is I asked her and I'm going to ask you guys all these questions too, but I asked her, what do you like to do? And it was meditation. Is it meditation or yoga?
Yeah, it's both.
Okay. So meditation and yoga, she's like, I love meditation and yoga, and it's so important to me, and it so helps my business when I do it. And I'm like, how often do you do it? And she says, I don't, because I don't have time. And that's what makes this so impactful. So functionally, what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to make a perfect week for you, okay? And for some of you that have kids, this may be the time to do a perfect week, right? Because your children are coming home and they're going to be there, and you may have different things that are going on. So,
can I interject right there? The one thing I will say, you guys, is the replay will be available. So I would listen to this now with summer in mind, because it's summertime, the kids are going to be home, whatever, and then do it again in August and redo your schedule.
Right? So before we even get to like this calendar thingy that could be a little strange, or what colors do you use, the first thing I want you to think about is, how do you work, right? And I will tell you, I tend to try to work during the work week. That's one of my things. That's my mantra, is work when you work. So I sit my butt down in a chair and I work during work. And one of the reasons for that was, when I was single, just married to my husband with no kids, we were able to work all weekend long. I could pull a 16-hour weekend and get everything done. I could screw around all day and then jam it into the nighttime, but that doesn't work for me anymore. So I have picked times that I'm going to work, and that's all I do when I work. Butt in chair, doing the work. Because I'm a writer. So your work may not be butt in chair, but get the idea. Okay. Next thing you want to do is think about, what time do you work the best? So my absolute best time to work is 7 a.m. to 1. Like, that is the only time I am effectively working. And so can you guys want to put in the chat what your best times to work are?
And you guys, be totally honest about this, because this is where, when I went and sat with Tara, I told her, I said, I cannot function before 9:30 a.m. Like, it just doesn't. And she's like, okay, so block it out. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah.
Because everybody told you that to be successful, you have to get up at 5, and you have to, the miracle morning, and you're going to read, and you're going to, make yourself breakfast, and and I'm like, but if that's not your method, okay, so Salisbury has a first name. What's your first name, Salisbury?
Melissa.
Melissa. So Melissa is after people go to bed. And oh, there you go. So I love, is that Joy? Joy Dawn?
Joy Dawn. Mm-hmm.
I love that we have somebody that is working a full-time job, because this works honestly the best when you have too much to do, right? Like, my world has gotten really, really easy and comfortable because I have eliminated things. But for a lot of you, we have 40 hours in the week, or we have however many hours are in the real week. And for people who work 8 to 5, you really have to be specific about it. And this is really going to help you. I promise. I promise, double dog swear. But Joy Dawn, you still need to think about, do you work best in the morning, to where so you work 8 to 5, you probably have half an hour transit, you probably have half an hour to get ready. You're going to put all that in there. So functionally, you're really blocking out from 7 to 6, right, ish. So could you get up at 5 and work for 2 solid hours before you get ready to go to work? Or do you work best, you get home, you have a couple hours to settle down, you do that, and then you work great from 9 to 11, right? These are things that you want to think about, because it's so important to know your own body.
And you guys, this is like a lot of what I talk about too, is what is right for you, right? So don't worry about how everybody thinks. I had it in my head, the guru said, if I want to be successful in this self-employed, entrepreneurial thing, you have to be functioning at 5 a.m. I just can't. I just don't do that. So be totally honest with yourself of how you're feeling and what you're like, when is your own body clock? When do you feel most productive? And do that. So be totally honest with this part of it.
Yeah. So that's super important. And I see Stacy, you have during the school year, well, probably a lot like me, that's kind of where I am too. During the school year, my little one leaves at 9 and I can work till 3, but my world's getting ready to get rocked because they're gonna be here. And I can try to pretend that everything's just the same, but it's not. And I don't have as much time. And so I have to even be more careful in the summer. So this is a hard thing to do next because it feels very selfish. So what do you have to do in real life? Okay. So let me tell you some of the things I have to do, not work, but in my real life. I have to get up and get ready every morning. And I do the dishes and I feed my pets. So every morning I get up at 5-ish, 5:30-ish. And every morning until at least 6:30 or 7, I take a shower, I play with the cat, I feed the dogs, I do the dishes. Because I like that time all by myself. I listen to podcasts. This is my signal for listening to podcasts. I listen to podcasts, and that's stuff I have to do. My son has lacrosse every Monday and Wednesday. Okay. Now my husband and I take turns. So Monday night is generally my time. So I put down from 5 to 9:30, 8:30, that I have lacrosse. Like there's just no getting around that, you guys. It's not a I wish I had that time. I don't have that time because it's taken by him. My husband has this thing about dinner. He really likes, even before we had children, he really likes to sit down to dinner every night. And it was so funny because my girlfriends always used to laugh at me. Oh, you got to run home and make dinner for your husband. I'm like, no, I just have to run home and eat dinner with my husband. He makes it. So that's really important. Jen, I see my days are always different too. And I get that. I totally get that. But you want to make a perfect week. Maybe you make 2. So sometimes I'll do that. Say like they alternate. But if you're functionally saying, my days are always different, I have no control, I'm totally at the whim of fate, and I'm a tumbleweed in the wind, then you're not taking control of your days. So I'll give you an example. The person who I do this with is a realtor. And there's nobody who has more different days. Excellent. Work hours are different. I totally get that. Figure out the amount of time, right, that you normally would spend. So if your work hours are different, but you're spending 20 hours a week working or 40 hours a week working, then you have to block off that time. And I use green. We're not really getting into it, but it seems like you guys have a lot of like work things. But I use green, and you would just block off the amount of time for work and travel every week because you don't have it. That's the thing. We're beating up ourselves up that we can't get everything done, that we're bad people, that we're not efficient enough. We need a new hack. We need this. Dude, there's only so much hours in the day. That's the fact. And so you need to write down the things that you absolutely have to do. For you gals that work, you have to put in your work time, however many hours it generally is, right? And if you have a general idea of what time it is, I have to tell you right now, you are going to be very resistant to this. You should have seen me do this with Jennifer. She told me absolutely she has a different schedule all the time. She does, and what we finally found out was she was going with the wind. She was going with whatever other people were dictating. And when she sat her things down and she said, I am going to meditate, I am going to do this, then all of a sudden the world started working a little bit more according to her schedule rather than her coming in. Okay. Oh, that's good, Jen. Cindy. Okay. Now, what do you wish you could do, but you don't have the time to do? Like, do you want to exercise? I hear people say all the time, I want to exercise, but they don't have it in their calendar. Or they'll say, I want to spend more time with my kids. Or they'll say, I want to walk my dog. But if you literally don't have it in your calendar and your calendar is full, there's not a magical fold in time that's going to open up. So anybody, blog. Oh, Stacy. Right. You guys, I'm a writer. This is my thing. I'm so happy. Anybody else? Something that you want to do that you're not really getting to.
So one thing, you guys, that I used in this space when she was asking me this is it's really important for me to get massage regular because it helps my body feel better. I was not doing that at that time. I was like hit and miss. Like sometimes I was really good about getting it done and sometimes I wasn't. And doing this exercise with Tara actually gave me permission. And I put that in my calendar and it's every other Friday and I don't miss it. It's scheduled out with my massage therapist literally a year at a time. So that's one of the things, like if there's something like that as well, like, yes, we want to work. Yes, we want to write. Yes, all of these things. But don't forget that the self-care piece of that too, because otherwise you're going to work so much and you're going to be doing all these things that you're putting that on the back burner. So think outside the box a little bit when she's asking you, what do you want to do? Because this is about really planning the perfect, right? Our perfect week. Like if we were living in a perfect week, a perfect lifestyle, what would you be doing in that time? So think outside the box when you're doing that.
Oh, Melissa, that's sad. You have to start thinking about what it really would, like literally, okay, so I'll tell you guys a secret. I have an issue that I really like to do, like mixed media stuff and this is going to sound ridiculous because it does sound ridiculous. I really want to make an Altoid tin that I can put into my pocketbook, right? Like a fancy one. That's not important to anybody on the face of the earth or in my family except for me, right? But when I am more when I am more creative, my whole world gets better, right? And an Altoid tin is not a 15-hour, 20-week project. I functionally really need to get some glue and maybe some paint. But as a mom and as a businesswoman and as somebody who's busy, that would be really easy to go. So I'll tell you where on mine this would go, like doing my little Altoid tin. I tend to not work on Saturday. Like that is my day that I just don't work. You too, yay. I think that's kind of important. Now, for you gals that work a job, I totally get that you have to work almost every day because that's all the time you have, right? But if you can pick a day where you just don't work, it kind of changes your life because you can then sort of say, I'm doing my Altoid tin on Saturday, or I'm, working on the yard, or I'm doing whatever. And it really does make your life a lot better, right? Sometimes I go shopping. I like shopping on Saturday. All right. So the next thing is to write down, not necessarily on the calendar, but just so that you know it, what are you contractually obligated to do? Okay. Yeah, a joy time slot. I love that. So I'm contractually obligated. I have clients who pay me monthly to do two things. So I have Blog Monday, which I help people with their social media and their blogging. And then I also have clients who I do coaching with, and I do them on Wednesday. So contractually, I make those my blue or green people. And we're not really there. Don't stress out. This is not so much about filling out your calendar as it's figuring out your life, right? So this is where I have a job. You're contractually obligated to go to work, right? So that's going to be your time when you have to go do that. And that's fine, guys. Please do not let anybody tell you you have to, burn the bridges or do anything like that. I think you should be really, comfortable before you burn any bridges, please. Okay, half Fridays. Yay! All right. That's easy one, right? What's your most profitable task? So you want to think about this. So I realized when I had my epiphany that I had children after a couple of years, I realized I had to think about what my most profitable task was. So number one, my most profitable task monetarily is to do that Blog Monday, right? Like they pay me, I get recurring revenue for people, and I don't mind doing it. It's 1 day a week, right? I have 6 other days to be fun. My clients are clients I've had for years now. I love them. It's easy. I have staff that helps me take care of them. So at one point in time, I was like, the blogs have to go. And then I thought, why? You know, if I can get them all into 1 day, why not? And Monday is not a great day for me. I'm not a big high energy Monday, let's hit the ground running. I'm more of a, oh, let's do Blog Monday. So what is the most profitable money-wise, or, and here come for you writer people, my most profitable task for my future was writing my blog, okay? Because I'm at the point where I'm making over $1,000 a month in affiliate products, in affiliate sales every month. And my next goal is to get to $2,000 a month from affiliate sales. And my goal is to grow my email list. And so I have a lot of things that are dependent on making sure that I blog every week, okay? And so that isn't monetarily the most profitable right now, but if I don't focus on it as my future, I'm never gonna get there, right? Like the things out in the future don't show up unless you work on them every week. And I can't work on it Monday. I never get to work on my blog on Monday, which makes me very sad. But it's also, you know, I do Blog Monday. I get all of my client work done. And then I have Josiah's lacrosse. It's just a day. So do you guys think of profitability, the most profitable thing, as your monetarily profitable or as your future profitable? And you have to chat with me or I'll keep talking.
And sometimes it's a blend of a little bit of both, right?
Right. So I have two. I have the money, and then I have the blogging is my future. Both.
Yes,
see
both. Okay.
There you go. So, but you're gonna have to make sure they're in your calendar, right?
Exactly.
That's the point. What happened to me, one of the other reasons why I had to like have the come to Jesus with myself, is not only did I realize I had little children, but then I realized that my entire week was doing stuff for clients and my life was never going to change, right? Like it wasn't going to get better. All I was doing was getting paid dollars for time, and it wasn't even work I liked. Like some people love making websites and some people love, you know, client work. I don't. It's just not my thing. I really love writing my blog posts. I really love doing research. I really love like figuring something out. Like I'm writing a blog post about, I really like bossing people around. Okay, let's call a spade spade. I'm writing a blog post because 3 of my clients are trying to do affiliate marketing and they're screwing it up and they're killing me. So I'm writing a big long blog post about how they can do it better. So I'm bossy, right? Okay. So you think about that, because I mean, we aren't nearly done, guys, and you'll notice your calendar fills up pretty fast. And this is why you feel so bad about yourself, because you're trying to cram 120 hours into a 80-hour week, right? I should find out how awake I am. So I sleep 7 hours a night. So 24 hours minus 7 equals times 5. Nope, times 6. 7. 24 minus 7 equals times 7 days. Okay, so I have 120 hours that I'm conscious, right? If I were able to use every single hour, and I promise you, when I started doing this, I had about 200 hours worth of stuff that I felt like I should be doing. right?
Yeah, and that's right where I was too. And on this note right here, when I sat down with Tara and we did the one-on-one, it was really surprising to me how much time I wasn't accounting for that I was actually burning. And it wasn't anything that I could do anything about. Like, it took me 15 minutes to go to the school to pick up my daughter, right? Or it took me this amount of time to get her to practice. There was all these things that I had forgotten to put in there, like the half-hour drive to get her to volleyball, right? So those things I didn't even have them in my head that was taking up part of my time. So when you're doing this planner and you're sitting down and actually marking out your personal time, include that stuff in there, because that is a lot of it. We're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was in the car for 30 minutes. Right?
Right.
So think about all of those
that's
things.
a thing. So you definitely want to put your travel time in. Jen, you can't sustain 3 hours a night sleep. You just can't. Like, you're going to make yourself physically sick. You either need to explain to your authors that it's going to take longer to edit their books, or you need to get help, or you need to raise your prices so that you're doing work for fewer authors. Like, those are the 3 metrics that you can work with. Sleeping 3 hours a night is not a good practice. It'll make you sick. I'm going to help you be healthy. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to do, and this is good. This made a lady cry. It was awesome. I would also print out a copy of this and show yourself what you actually do in a week. Like, actually record what you do and then color it in the colors you decide on. And I promise you, you will have something that doesn't look beautiful like this, that looks like fruit striped gum. That's like, you were doing that, Jen. You were like, pink for personal. And then I do this one thing. And then I do this. And then I do this. And it winds up that you're switching back and forth between so many things. What you want to do is and we all did it, right? Like, mine looked like a zebra when I started. But what you want to do is you want to put big chunks of time at one task. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the best idea to start with, because it does give you an idea. So whenever I first did this with Tara, I literally did 2. We did the one that was like the realistic of what I was actually doing every day. And then we planned the perfect, right? So it really helps you see where you're actually spending your time. And then it helps you see, okay, if I were able to plan this a little bit better, how can I restructure? And where can I make this flow a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I was going to type that all, but so what I'm thinking is that if I don't I won't be realistic unless I put that, unless I just write down what I'm really doing, because I won't realize. I'll be like, I can do this and that. Like, what my ideal is still going to be wrong until I fill that out and go, oh my God.
And
like, this is the crap I got to deal with. Like, because I will do it. I will still hate myself and think that I filled out your planner, Tara. I'm like, I don't know what I'm still doing wrong. So,
no, but that's why and that's why I said, don't stress out too much about today. That this isn't necessarily about filling out this calendar. It's about figuring out your life.
Right. So I just felt like I just needed to do, like, I should just pay attention, just be present and pay attention to what I'm doing, and just carry this around and be like, that's what I did. Like, just,
once we get to the colors, like how you do your colors, because that's exciting. You'll see, oh my God, I did a family thing, and then I did an admin thing, and then I did I have eBay things, then I did a writing thing. And instead of having nice big chunks, because it is very, very, very unrealistic to multitask. Multitasking is a term that came from the computer world, and even computers don't multitask. They work for a second on a thing, and then they switch, and then they switch, and then they switch. Humans can't switch. So they've said, the people that actually know these things, it takes us 15 minutes to transition from one thing to another thing. I'll give you guys a hint about my life too, is I don't answer my phone. Okay? I just don't answer my phone. I have a girl who returns my phone calls, and I have a list in my contacts so I can see if it's my children's school, my father, or like my two best friends. Like I'll answer if they call, but everybody else can go until it's time for me to answer my phone calls. Right?
And you guys, this was huge for me. So right now I'm giving you permission as you're going through this, because that's what it needed for me. It was almost like Tara had to give me permission to say, oh yes, that's important. Oh yes, your quiet time in the morning is okay and important. And it actually made me much more productive throughout the day because I allowed myself that time.
Well, think about it. I learned this. So I was a realtor for 2 years, and I swear to God, I learned every one of my life lessons in that like horrible boot camp. So I would answer the phone in the car, and then I would have like either say, could you call me back and leave me a message about that? Or I'd be trying to drive and like write a note, or I'd be trying to message myself a message. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm not helping them and I'm not helping me. So I would let that go to voicemail. If I'm writing and I have to stop and answer the phone and deal with whatever, the phone is other people's problems, and deal with whatever that is. When I come back, my writing is not going to be the same. Like I'm not in that same Zen place. I'm not super happy and doing that. Now I've distracted myself. If you're a speaker, never check your Facebook, your email, or your messages before you go on. Like, just don't do it. Like I would say for a good 2 hours before I talk, I just turn everything off, because there's nothing that's going to come in good that is going to make such a difference in my life. And there are things that can hurt me, so that when I go on the stage or I come on a webinar, I'm not doing as good a job. So that's all about you management, right? That's all about making sure that you are the one that's the center of your life, not everybody else.
So there's some comments about like last minute things and having to juggle when things come up like that.
Okay, so I can give you a perfect example. So in my perfect week, and this is Tuesday is very similar to my perfect week during the school year, right? Tuesday is my day I write. So there's Tuesday. So this morning I was super happy because my kids are still going to school. And I was like, I get to do blogging. And then I had this thing with Jen planned. And then I was going to write afterwards, right? So my son is having a complete meltdown, which happens. They were in foster care. And so they have different problems than other kids have. The end of the school is a really hard time for him. And he has behavior issues right now, right? Okay. So it wound up that I had to take him to school. And it was after the time, so I've missed my blogging time, right? I will just move it to after this webinar, and I will sit my butt down and do my blog. Will I get as much done? I won't. Like, it's not physically possible to get as much done now. I had planned on doing the affiliate blog post, finishing that up tomorrow, and then doing a different blog post on Thursday that one of my gals worked for one of my little blogs. That's not going to happen now. Like it's not physically possible. That time went away, and it was super important to be there for my son, but it doesn't magically come back just because I want it to. So now I have to say, okay, well, today I'm going to have to write more in a shorter period of time, and I'm going to have to use a little bit more of the time tomorrow than I had meant to. There's not a perfect week. You can't set it down. But if I didn't have this extra project time right here, I wouldn't even have that much time this afternoon, right? I'd be scurrying around doing something else. All right. You guys may see a lot of yellow on my thing, okay? You want to talk about a fun hobby. So one of my very fun hobbies is I sell on Etsy, okay? Everybody told me I had to get a hobby and stop thinking about marketing all the time. So I decided to start selling on Etsy. And I really like it because I get to go to estate sales, right? It's not in the home. I get to leave these people here and go in the world, right? I get to take pictures. I get to write descriptions. And I don't know that I could have a hobby really where I didn't make money. So it makes me gloriously happy. Now, you'll notice it is totally on the fringes of my life, right? I have to ship in the morning. Friday's my kind of Etsy day. And a couple of nights a week, I do listings. It's a hobby. It's on the periphery of my life. But if anything goes, that's the first thing to go, right? So if you have a hobby that you love, or you have I guess I like this term. It's my side hustle, right? Like, not trying to build it up into like an Etsy dynasty, but it's fun.
It's awesome.
Doing it. So if you have something like that, then it does have to be on the periphery. For you gals who work all week, like, your dream is your side hustle, right? So it does look sort of like that. You're like, okay, I can do a little bit in the morning. I can have all day Saturday to do it. I have a couple nights a week that are open with my kids. And that's just what she has a cat with her. Hi, cat. Yeah. So, but this is what it's about, right? You guys, this is about your perfect life. And that's so funny because I just wrote this is my next thing I'm going to talk about. There's never a perfect week. Like, never once has my week ever gone perfectly. Now, the things that I have to do or that I've said I'm going to do, I always do. It is so nice to be able to take off every Friday and go drive around to estate sales, to go to thrift stores. I go to lunch with clients sometimes, client meetings. I go to lunch with clients sometimes, or go to lunch with friends. So like Friday is my sort of fun day, right? I don't feel badly about roaming around the countryside in dirty old houses on Fridays, because that's what my planner says I'm supposed to do, right? My week really like goes downhill. I do Blog Monday, which is for all my clients. Then I do my blog, which is my real blog, my very important stuff. And that goes to Wednesday. And then by Thursday, I'm just sort of doing stuff. And by Friday, I'm like out the door because I've lost interest. I'm ready to leave. And then the last thing is, like I'm doing today, if you fall off the wagon, jump back on, right? Like, so I could literally say, well, it's going to be 1 o'clock and I didn't get all my 4 hours this morning to write my blog. I might as well not do it. I will sit down for 2 hours, 2.5 hours till my middle child comes home, and just get as much done as I physically can, right? It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be what I had hoped to do today, but it'll be better than nothing. And then, so I will tell you about my week. Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So across the top is my getting ready, and then the top part underneath the top is my listings. So all my eBay stuff is in yellow. Pink is for personal, right? Pink is for personal, so you put all your personal stuff in first. And then I do orange for strategy because that's my future. So I make sure I have lots of orange, and you can see my dinners there in pink that Johnny really cares about. And green is when I'm physically making money, contractually obligated. And then my coaching clients come in on Wednesday afternoon because by then I'm starting to peter out, right? And then for the summer, I'm taking Thursday afternoon off to do stuff with my kids because that's really different. So my colors are: pink is for personal, yellow's for eBay, green is for client work, orange is for strategy, blue is for when I'm out of the house, mostly, right? Like, so I in both my online calendar, my offline calendar, blue is for when I'm leaving the house. And then dark purple, I think a lot of us forget this. Dark purple is for training. So training is when you spend an hour, you spend a half an hour, you spend some time. If Jennifer has a webinar coming out and you didn't get to do it, you watch it, I think training is the first thing that goes for me because I feel like it's kind of like a treat. And then the next thing in my life before this that went was writing, because how could something I loved so much be something that was worthwhile to do. I don't know why as women, I found it's mostly a woman thing, that we think just because we love it, that can't be what we get to do, right? Like the world wouldn't reward us for what we love the most. So what questions do you have?
Okay, so I think, Tara, I'm going to open it up and unmute everybody so that then we can, or actually, you know what, if you guys have questions, just unmute, and we'll just do this as like a full interactive. Is that okay, Tara? Are you at that point now where we can just be interactive?
Yes,
and really
exactly. I think like we have a basis, and now I can answer a million questions.
Okay. So what I would do first, though, you guys, what helped me a lot was, what is your personal stuff that is non-negotiable, right? For me, the personal stuff that was non-negotiable is my morning time and my coffee. Like, it takes me some time to wake up and integrate and be ready to be in my day so that I can function and be awake enough to do what I need to do. The other non-negotiables at the time was when I had to take my daughter to school. That's changed because now she drives. So what are your non-negotiables? I would put those in first, because then that helps you see how much reality of time that you have left.
Yeah, when my kids were going to school at the same school, I really thought, oh, well, I have all this time. Well, I didn't really have all that time, because by the time I got home from dropping them off, it was about a half an hour. And then I had to go to the bus station, which was a half an hour. So I was thinking I had like 7 hours. And I really, at the end of the day, had maybe 5.5. And that's a big difference. That's a lot of time to be missing. So what do you guys have, Cat Lady?
I just think that I've done that my whole life, where I just overestimate the amount of time that I have. I'm like, I can get all that done in an hour. And then like 2 o'clock runs around and you're like still at the store trying to find something, and you're angry and pissed off at the whole world. And you're like, well, I don't know why it took me so long to do that, but I just have always thought I can get more done than I can.
So this is the other thing, guys. This is hysterical. We overestimate how long it will take us to do something we hate, and underestimate how long it'll take us to do something we love. So I pay my bills once a month. Every 15th, I have to pay my bills. Now, that actually means writing 2 checks, setting up an automatic payment to my business card, and paying AT&T. So it involves 4 things. You would think I was hauling rocks for 5 hours by the way I act what it's going to be, right? But then if you say, hey, let's write a 1,800 to 2,000 word blog post about affiliate marketing with pictures and all that, I'm like, 2 hours, I got this. And it's not. It'll be, that's the one thing I've gotten better at, you guys. I used to think I should be able to write an entire blog post in an hour, like picture, soup to nuts, everything I wanted in there. And now I have it where I usually assume everything, promoting it on social, doing all that is probably going to be at least 5 hours for a really good blog post.
I get perfectionistic.
Yeah. So what else do you guys, who else has something that this is the thing that you would do if you were allowed to, and you are allowed to because it's your life, right? Like, it's really your life. You get to do anything you want to.
Where are you guys struggling? Who's like, I don't even know what to put down first?
Me.
Anybody in that space? Okay. So Ash, for you, I literally would do, first of all, put your mornings. How long does it take to get the girls their breakfast? Where are you running around? It's going to be a little bit different for you because it's summer, right? Yeah. So you may have to do some of your admin stuff during nap time.
There's no nap time.
Yeah, okay, so there's no nap time. Okay, so you may have to designate quiet time in the afternoon for an hour and a half or something. You know what I mean? Like, it may have to be a movie, or it may have to be, quiet time or coloring or something. And, when my kids were really little, we would actually sit at the kitchen table and they would color while I worked. Like, they didn't know I wasn't coloring with them. because I was doing my work. I did it on paper, and then I would eventually transfer it to the computer if need be. But back then, especially when they were little, I was doing more of like the herbal stuff. So it was a lot of, research on herbs and that kind of thing. So just find out, where are you at right now, and where I would put all your pink stuff first. Like literally put all your personal stuff first. What time do you get up? Do you need to get up, a little bit before the kids to be able to get everything done? The other thing that I will do is when I send out the final replay and all of that, I will put a link to Tara's site, because she has amazing planner things that can go inside like a 3-ring binder where you can make a planner. So this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as what she does is in the planning realm. Like she's got some to-do lists that you can use. It's like what has to be done today, what can be done within the week, or what can be done within the month.
Yeah,
right?
I have a bunch of them already. I downloaded the one that was for network marketing.
Yay!
I have
That
yet
one's
to use
really
them
bad.
because I get panic attacks about planning things, but I have them. And
Well,
they are great.
I will tell you that if you do nothing but do your perfect week and then that daily planner and then track your leads for the network marketing, like if that's all you do, you will make more money. Because mostly you're going to be losing leads on parties. You're going to be losing leads on hostesses. And if you just start writing that down and you make that part of the game, is that you have to fill up X number of pages or do whatever. At first, you guys, all of you, when you start this, it feels terrible. You're like, I don't have enough time to do the things. And so one of the things you're going to have to do is start eliminating stuff you do, right? And that's hard. That's really hard. But it's not realistic. And so I used to have all kinds. I can't even remember what I had on my list of things I had to do for my business. For network marketing, maybe you could consolidate, like if you're submitting your orders every night, maybe you could switch it to every other night or once a week, or you could take it from once a week and spread it out if that's what it is. I mean, there's so many ways to gain time by really knowing what you're using it for. And then you do have to eliminate, like that. Every one of us has to eliminate. And I will tell you, and maybe this will help give you some permission. I don't let my kids sit in front of the TV. Like that's not my babysitter. Their iPads aren't their babysitter. But during the summer, they get 2 hours of time every day. And I encourage them to take them while I'm doing webinars or while I'm doing whatever, right? And so if you're little ones, if you have really little ones, maybe you can't do 2 hours at a time, but maybe you could do a half an hour here and a half an hour there. Or if you could take them to a place, I know like our YMCA, it's so funny, I would totally do this. Our YMCA has a little babysitter service. And instead of going to work out, just put them in there and go sit at the tables by the side, because they will love being with the other kids and you'll get some stuff done. This is how you can get creative about getting some time. Ashley
said something that resonated with me when she said she has a panic attack about planning. And I get like that because I almost hate to put stuff and say in concrete that I'll be there, because I hate to disappoint people and I feel like everything just falls apart all the time. So like, honestly, like putting stuff in stone makes me nervous. So I need to.
Yeah, because if you're
emotional.
Yeah, but if you're feeling like that, you're saying yes to too many things, right? Like if you're feeling like.
Well, I say no to everything now because I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that, because everything is done. Because I used to say yes to everything. So now I've gone the other way where I'm like, that stresses me out too much. But
yeah, but there is a happy medium, right? Like I don't meet with anybody for coffee. I don't do it. Like I can't do that because I have children and they need my time. And so people will say, hey, can I pick your brain? Can we go have a cup of coffee? And that was really hard for me at first. Like I was like, God, I sound so sanctimonious. I'm not. This is my time. I have a lot of people, even my clients, who want to meet with me, who want me to leave my home, drive half an hour, go sit somewhere and come back. I've started doing a lot of meetings with Zoom or Skype because we can both do it really easily. And then I have a list of people who I will go to lunch with. I will, like, at a drop of a hat, I will go to lunch with my dad. Like, if he's available, I don't care what else was on my calendar. My dad's almost 80 years old. I'm going to lunch with him. My bestie just moved. Like, I spent 3 afternoons in the last 2 weeks painting her house. I don't care what else has to go away. She needs that. So I think that you should schedule at least 2 times a week, if you like talking to people, for either an in-person or a go to cocktails, go to lunch, go do that, and just put it in your calendar and it's set in stone.
I'm just saying, like scheduling it. Like, people call, go, oh, I'll go now. Like, but it's like, for me to go Thursday at 12, I will be there. That's like, oh my gosh, that's 4 days away, and anything can happen between now and Thursday.
So like what?
I don't know.
What could happen? Well, but you do seem very like, this seems very scary to you, right?
Less. I guess I need to let go of my old life. My son used to have. Well, my son's older now, but I mean, he had Asperger's, so I used to go like, oh, the school called again. This happened. Someone's home. So it's a learned pattern, but like, I think it's just, I need to let go of it now. But
well, maybe that's why you came today. I mean, like, maybe that's why Jennifer got me, and that's why, because you are living in the past. Oh my gosh. The reason why I did this, because I was totally trying to live as if I was a dual income, no kids businesswoman with 3 children, right? Like, nothing worked. Everything fell apart. I was always like stressed out. I could have puked almost every day because I had all these things I was supposed to be doing. And then I have these children, and they are super special children. They were in foster care for 4 years, and they were taken away because of neglect. They are not easy kids, right? My dog is high maintenance. I love him. There's lots of things that go on. So you may be living in a past that was more chaotic. I was living in a past that was way calmer, and it didn't work. It wasn't my life anymore. And now my life is glorious. Like, I'm really super happy with 90% of what I have to do. And then I have to pay my bills, and there's other things I'd rather not do. But like 90% of the time, I'm super happy. So maybe you do need to take a look and do a week where you can see,
I do need the discipline. Because I just lived chaotically before, where I was like, I don't know. So now I think I could use it, like, where I should have a plan, but I don't even know where to start. So I need to start with me. Jennifer, I need to put the personal time in, huh?
I would. Yeah. I would start with that for sure, because here's the thing. Whenever I went with Tara, and why it was so impactful for me, was because I was trying to do so much. And it was literally just right at the startup. I had been doing the conferences and those kind of things. And so I was just spinning my wheels. Like, I was loving everything I was doing, but there wasn't any method to it. Right. And so I was feeling really scattered, and I was feeling like I wasn't giving it my full attention, because my brain was over here, because I was taking my daughter to her volleyball, but I was thinking the whole time, instead of being focused on talking to her while I was in the car, I was thinking about the million things I needed to do for marketing, because the event was coming up, and right. And so for me, getting this all down and saying, you know what, this is my time. I'm going to be with my daughter, and that's what I'm going to focus on. For that 30 minutes in the car, I'm going to focus on, how is her day? What is she doing? How's her volleyball going? What else can we talk about? All the things that teenagers go through. Let's make that time valuable. And then knowing that, I need to have and I know it sounds silly, but going to massage for me is like going to the doctor. Like, it is something you have to do. Right. And so I put that in, and it was amazing once I figured out and actually blocked, okay, this is what happens at this time, and this is what happens at this time. It totally made everything flow. And I actually gave up a lot, but it didn't, like, you can't even tell now what I gave up. Like, I don't even remember what I let go
What
of.
was it? I was literally like, I'm looking around for old planners to go, what had I filled my time with?
I don't know what, but I will tell you, I have way more personal private time. I have way more self-care time for myself, and I'm 10 times more productive, and I'm making more money. Yeah. Making more money on less time, because now I'm focused on what I'm doing.
Well, I think because I'm not scheduling that time, like, this is what I'm going to be doing, that I let other people take my time. Because I'm saying, no, this is my 2 hours that I'm blogging or whatever. Then, so when somebody comes in and is like, well, Mom, I need to go do this or whatever, I don't say, no, this is my 2 hour time. I let other people
and
steal
I
that time from me.
Because I'm a night person, right? I get a lot more done. So Tara helped me schedule it to where, I did some things, and then from like 4 to 6:30 or whatever it was like getting my kids home from school, getting dinner ready, having dinner. And then at like 7:30 to 9, I would actually go check email and do those kind of things. And it actually worked out once I set up that boundary, right? And said, okay, guys, I've got to restructure, because in order for me to work at home and be available to you guys as much as I want to be, I have to start balancing, because I'm not getting all my work done. So that being said, this is what it's going to look like. We're going to have this time together in the evenings. And then I really need to check email. So this is the time that you guys can shower and you can get stuff ready for tomorrow and whatever. And then we would like reconvene and be able to visit again before everybody went to bed for the night. So, and the kids at that point are old enough, and your kids are old enough now that you can do that,
Well, my littlest son is just 9. And he was so excited. He wound up, I at first thought it was the webinar was going to be now, was going to be before I took him to school. And he was really excited. He's like, oh, I can listen to Mommy's work. When you give them the ability to know that they can help be a part, my kids will help me measure stuff. My kids will say being quiet is part of helping Mommy's work. They will, they really want to be a help, especially if they know, just like Jennifer said, that this means that we have all Thursday afternoon for fun day.
Right.
Like, if you guys let me work the rest of the week, then I am going to take off at 10:30 every Thursday, and we're going to do fun day. That's where it makes it less terrible for them.
Mm-hmm.
So is anybody totally stressed out? Okay, feeling overly responsible. Perhaps you can look for ways to disappoint one person a day nicely but intentionally, so you can take care of yourself. Men generally are able to compartmentalize their lives and keep their time blocks sacred. That is totally true. And I will tell you that you've already done the hard work of eliminating everybody. Like, yours is going to be the other way, bringing people back in. But for me, it was a lot of, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Like, I will do maybe 2 webinars a month. I will do maybe 1 in-person event a month. Like, I used to do them all the time. I have people almost every day that want me to be on their teleseminar or their this or their that. I just can't do it, because then when would I work? Like, this whole concept of, well, you'll do all this stuff and then you'll make all this money. Well, it doesn't work that way unless you have something for them to buy or for them to do once they get there or whatever. And so it's just really important to be careful of and mind that.
The thing that, these systems of organizing are always so idealistic, and I love them, and I'm a systems person as well, and I can set a system up, but what is a struggle is when unexpected crises happen. A child gets sick, or a loved one's in the hospital, or you have the deadlines that suddenly just somebody else brings on, and it is part of your job and it's in your something, or I also have had my dreams of manifesting certain types of business endeavors that are going to build my financial future and so forth. And something happens. Suddenly there's a closing now, or there's a foreclosure that I have to contend with that is taking away from some of my other things, because of the work week and the work day is during this block, and this is really not on my schedule for the day or this week. And, so the whole tension of that, anxiety around that, I'm gladly putting effort into my dreams, and it's like my manifestations are coming, but OMG,
Right,
now
but
I've got to actually pursue it and follow it through, or I will totally lose my future.
so a couple of things, and I hear this a lot, and when I was single with no kids, I heard it a lot, and I thought, okay. And now that I have 3 children, and I have 3 super special children, they go to the psychiatrist, they go to counselors, they go to doctors and dentists, just like all normal children do, right? I used to think that happened a lot. I put that in my schedule. My children only have doctors and dentist appointments after 3 o'clock when they're supposed to get home from school. And that leaves me the rest of the day to do it. I do not have sickly kids, and I have the weirdest children in the world. They love to go to school, so they don't miss school. But unless your children are missing a day of school a week for something, it sounds as if you've kind of decided that chaos is how your life is going to be. If you're doing a foreclosure and you find out that these kind of things come up every week, whether it's a foreclosure, whether it's a, you got a new listing, or whatever happens, those are weird things then. Those are things that happen every week, and you need to have maybe 2 hours a morning from 9 to 11 that are your fire drill times, that every day. You don't know what the fire drills are going to be, but every day there's going to be a fire drill from 9 to 11, and if you don't have a fire drill, you can put something else into there. Right?
I like that. That's cute.
Yeah, so then that is this is what, I know that, and I work with lots of realtors, and shite happens every day, right? Like this whole idea of, well, you're going to do lead gen from 9 to 11 and you're not going to talk to it. It's not that realistic, but if you know that you always every day have stuff come up, plan it.
Yeah. So, and I think here's the thing too, guys, and we're going to have to wrap it up because we're already over the hour that we had scheduled. But the main thing is to get this on paper so that you can really see where you're spending your time. Where is there maybe a drain? Like, where is there a time suck that you really don't need to be doing? And how do you give yourself enough planning space so that when those emergencies arise, then your whole entire life isn't completely thrown off just because it's happened. It's like, okay, well, I have in my space, I know some of these things are going to happen. So I actually cushion my time too. Like whenever I was talking with Tara, I cushion. My mornings are way big. But then that way I have time. If I have to get on at 8:30 in the morning to take care of something, it cuts into my coffee time or whatever, but you know what? It's extra time. So I pad my schedule a little bit, but it also helps me see that, you know what? No, I can't do lunch this week, maybe next week. Or I can't do, coffee on Tuesday, but, in 2 weeks, then sure, let's plan it. Right? So it's whatever. And those coffee dates, if those are important to your business and if you need those for the networking or whatever, then absolutely they have to be a part of your calendar, but you've got to decide. And here's the thing. If somebody says, oh, I can't do Tuesday, then you say, okay, well, can you do 2 weeks from Tuesday? If Tuesdays are the days that you set, then you stick to that.
Yes, Cindy?
Yes, I have a question. I have to practice a lot for my golf game because I have a big test to do in July. It's called a player's ability test. So would I put that under work, or is that personal, or what would that.
Okay, so I have a gal, Kirsten McKay Smith. I don't know if you know her, Jennifer.
I don't.
She's from Denver. So Kirsten McKay, she's the network marketing person that helped me do that planner. So she does passion parties, and maybe it's a different name now, Pure Romance and Beachbody, and then she trains. So she trains for like before a triathlon, 5 hours a day. She does all that. If you sit her down and you say, what are the most important things in your life? It doesn't start with passion parties or Beachbody. It starts with, I want to train. So if doing golf is something that is part of your life, then pick a special color for it, right?
Okay.
Like, this is the time when I'm doing golf. You don't really have to worry so much about, like, should I consider this business or should I consider this? For you, it might be your strategy, right? That may be your orange color. That's your future. Or it could be that for you, that's just one of the administrative things you have to do. You have to do this thing so that it allows you to take this test. Then I would make it yellow. Not so exciting, but you got to do it. So it just depends on how important, like, is that important to me would be going golfing? No. But do you want to make a Sucrets container with like stuff stuck on it? Probably not.
Yeah. Well, and in Cindy, that's part of her job because she actually teaches it. So you could use it under either, strategy or training or admin. I mean, it could be any part of that because it's something that's required for your job. Even though you enjoy it and it's fun, right? There's that permission thing again. It's okay for you to love what you do.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And then the other thing, so one last thing, you guys, is about how you kind of, and this sort of goes with time blocking. So if you're going to a golf course, right, and you're leaving your home and you know that's a time, you should try to cluster any other going out of your home things around that. So if you have a coffee or you have a networking or you have anything like that, try to schedule it around the times that you leave. I've seen gals that like go to coffee for an hour on Monday and then go to cocktails on Tuesday and then have golf on Wednesday. And like they don't have any big blocks of time because they're moving everything around all the time. And if that's how you work, that's fine. But a lot of times it just becomes, Zig Ziglar years ago, I read this thing and he said that people don't call to confirm appointments because they don't want to know if it's canceled because then they wouldn't get to drive there, right? And I think we all do that. Like ever since that day, I confirm every appointment. Like I emailed Jennifer, I'm like, hey, is everything, are we still on or whatever? That is important. So yeah, like your golf, have fun, have a blast. It's on your calendar. It's your job. Go for it. Yay.
Yes, that's good, Carrie, to block the flexibility, block out a period of time, and you may have to do it every day. That is either, okay, this emergency just came up. I've got to deal with it. I have to sign this contract or whatever. And maybe, okay, there's nothing today, so I have a whole hour. What am I going to do with it?
I love when people cancel things. I'm like,
I did too. I was like, it's okay, no problem. So I've got a million things I could be doing. So yeah, it's all good.
Well, excellent, ladies. It was very nice meeting you.
Tara,
Thank you so much. You're awesome.
Yeah. You guys, I will get all of this information out. I'll have a replay available. I'll get you the link to all of Tara's good stuff. She has such amazing, juicy stuff. I love all of her little charts and everything that she has. So I will get all that out to you guys. Thank you for joining the webinar, and I will talk to you guys all soon. If you have questions, join us in the Embodied Grace community, and I'll be going over questions in there too. Okay?
Thanks, Jen.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.